We'd like to believe that all dogs are lying home on the rug in front of the fireplace during the winter months.
I know I don't like to be out in the cold for very long.
Hi, I'm Chris Perandi, and today's question is, how do we protect our dog from the dangers of winter? I use some common sense. I bundled up today, put my gloves on, because it's pretty chilly for Northern California, and I think in the same way we need to use common sense with our dogs, because our dogs, they don't have that kind of protection. I mean, they have their nice big coats sometimes, but sometimes that's just not enough.
Although we'd like to believe that all dogs are lying home on the rug in front of the fireplace during the winter months, unfortunately some dogs do live their lives outside, and there are a lot of dangers to the winter. First, if your dog does live outside or spends a lot of time outside, you really need a good dog house. Insulated, windproof, watertight, with a raised floor, some insulation, and a lot of bedding for that dog to make a nest. You also have to remember that in the winter months, every animal needs fresh water. And of course, in the winter months, water tends to freeze.
Check that dog bowl, because those dog bowls can freeze, believe it or not. And those dog bowls, sometimes they're even made out of metal, possibly. I'm not sure what would even happen if a dog put their tongue on a freezing metal bowl. I remember what happened on Dumb and Dumber when Jim Carrey actually put his tongue on a pole. So I want to make sure that our dogs aren't getting their tongue stuck on a bowl. I don't think they're going to be quite as amused, but the main thing is just make sure that water doesn't freeze in that bowl. So and check it regularly and change it often.
And for those urban pets that are out walking on the snow and the ice and the salt that we use in the city, you have to be careful about the salt irritating their feet, and the jagged ice could also irritate or cut their feet. So make sure after you bring your pet home from its walk that you wash its paws off with a warm towel or washcloth and check for any injuries or irritation.
It's the time of year that the cold can cause many potential health problems, one of which is hypothermia. The dogs most susceptible to hypothermia are your toy breed dogs, your dogs with short coats, old geriatric and immune compromised dogs, and puppies. Most of all puppies, because they have to be kept very, very warm.
Frostbite could also be a problem. You want to be very, very careful if there's a lot of snowfall on the ground and it's been getting below freezing.
Frostbite can affect tips of their ears, the pads on their feet, and the tips on their tail.
But ear tips are especially vulnerable because of the thin fur coat on the ear tips. Signs include just a whiteness and very cold to the touch. If you suspect frostbite, you can apply warm water, not hot, and then I would seek medical attention from your veterinarian. And if your animal has had frostbitten ear tips or any part of the body, that part is going to be more vulnerable next winter, so be really careful.
When dogs are cold, they're going to be looking for a place to warm themselves. So if you have a space heater in your home and the dog isn't supervised, there's a good chance that it could be a potential fire risk, that the dog might, while trying to snuggle up to it, knock it over. So it's just good practice to buy space heaters that, if knocked over, will shut off automatically, or even better, to confine your dog to a crate or someplace safe that you know there's no danger of him hurting himself.
Antifreeze, commonly used for keeping your car healthy in the winter, is very, very dangerous to pets, and it is fatal when ingested. So clean up any spills from antifreeze. Make sure if you're adding antifreeze to your radiator that you immediately cap the bottle and that you clean up the spills so the animals don't ingest it. And if you suspect that your animal has tasted it, get to your veterinarian immediately.
I know I don't like to be out in the cold for very long, so my advice is take your dog out, let him do his business, and get back in the house.
Thanks for watching. For more of The Dish on Dogs, go to thedoggydish.com.
I should have been a dog, because when it's cold outside, all I want to do is snuggle under the blankets.